Bob's Breakfast.
When have you been stopped going somewhere? Chris?
I've been stopped getting into a strip club because I had a beanie on.
Really? It's unusual for a strip club to be where people aren't wearing very much to be fussy about you wearing...
Yeah.
It was a beanie hat.
Yeah, you know, the bobble hat.
A bobble hat. It's
Well,
not...
they call them beanies in Australia, don't they?
Oh, so was it in Australia this happened?
No, it's in this country in the East End.
So you're wearing a bobble hat, you tried to get in the strip club and they said, I'm sorry, no, that's... what else were you wearing? If you were only wearing a bobble hat, I kind of get that.
No, it's just, excuse me. I was wearing my work clothes.
Oh, what was your job?
A grease monkey, a mechanic.
Right, so you're wearing overalls and a bobble hat, and they said the problem was with the bobble hat.
Yeah.
Right, not with the overalls.
No, but they let me in the end.
Did they wearing overalls straight from work?
Well, I took them off and then took my beanie off.
Yeah.
And then they let me in, and I got slung out anyway because I wouldn't tip the girls.
Because you wouldn't tip the girls?
No, because, you know, they're taking their kit off and all this.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've never been to a strip club, but I kind of get the idea of how it works.
Yeah,
so you're expected to put fivers in their drawers, are you?
Well, yeah, something like that, but... You know, I said to the girls, I've come there for a drink, and I said I've seen it all before now. So
you're man of the world, yeah.
Innit?
Yeah, but so they wouldn't let you in, and then eventually they did, and then they kicked you out.
Yeah.
That wasn't a very good night at all then, was it?
I just went somewhere else.
Yeah, go somewhere. And it wasn't another strip club, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was, and they let you in, and there was no problems there?
Well, at one point, it is when I was more younger back in the day.
Yeah.
We used to know all the strip clubs.
Did you really? All right, well, we're getting into the way too much information portion of the conversation, but thanks for calling, Chris.
From Global's newsroom, I'm Fiona Winchester. David Bowie has died after
an embarrassing mistake. We've all made mistakes at work. I've made loads of them. In fact, you'll probably hear a few more this morning. So I'd like to know mistakes you've made at work. Natalie.
I was photocopying some music for my students.
Yeah.
And we were studying Dido and Aeneas. And I'd done it at university, so I thought, brilliant, I can use my resources that I used myself at university when I was singing Dido and Aeneas.
Right.
So I sent it all to be photocopied, and then in our first lesson, going through the pieces, we got to a page where I, as a university student, had graffitied all over one of the pages with not only rude words, but also rude pictures. And so... my class of 5 A-level students saw what myself at 21 had been drawing.
No! Let's get the latest news now with Chris Hubbard.
Controversy this morning over tickets for a street party to mark the Queen's 90th birthday in the Mall. There's been all sorts of criticism because these tickets are going to cost £150 each. Her grandson has announced. Peter Phillips said the lunch on the 12th of June was a not-for-profit event and would have a carnival atmosphere. There's going to be 10,000 guests. They're going to be from the organisations associated with the Queen. 1,000 tickets, just 1,000, are going to be released in the public ballot next month.
Now, they're saying street party, which conjures up images of tables on the street, sandwiches, jelly, ice cream, that kind of thing. Is it an actual street party? Is it catered? What do you get for your 150 quid? Because if you just get to stand by the side of the road and watch a parade go by, that's not very good value.
I think you've more or less hit the nail on the head. No, they are promising entertainment. It's going to be on the Mall, so
yes.
It is on a street,
yes,
technically. But the exact details at the moment are still a bit sketchy. I mean, the party's guests are going to be given hampers of food at tables set up along the Mall.
Well, they're the guests. So
yeah.
These are not the £150 a ticket people.
You
must get for 150 quid.
You would think so, wouldn't you? They say they're going to have a carnival parade. The Queen and Duke of Edinburgh are going to take to a stage to listen to speeches marking the occasion.
So she doesn't like any of that. You know, whenever they do that, remember when they had that big concert outside Bookhouse for, was it the Diamond Jubilee or whatever it was?
Oh, yeah.
And whenever she sits and she has to listen to performers, or that time they took her... She always pulls her face. She doesn't look like has anybody asked her what she wants? This nice old lady is being forced to listen to all kinds of things she's not into. She's nearly 90 years old. Does she really want to see some of this?
It was that big concert organised by Gary Barlow. That was
right,
a few years
ago.
Now
that, how that got past. Mom, we're going to put on a big concert and it's all organised by Gary Barlow. I'm out. I mean, right there. Did anybody want to see that?
Grace Jones will also be on the bill. Hula hooping. Do you remember that?
That's right, yeah.
It was just peculiar.
Yes, it was. Yeah, actually, that was probably one of the highlights.
That's all everybody talked about afterwards.
Because then we have to deal with Cliff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Gary Barlow.
Yeah. Remember Cliff being quite out of tune.
A few of them were.
Yeah.
I think McCartney was okay.
Yes.
But the others, not so much.
Right. But this is
my point is, she never looks like she enjoys these things.
No.
Why don't they find out what she wants? She might just want to go to a harvester.
Bob's Breakfast.
Survey out today of hotels talks about some of the more unusual items left behind, including keys to a Bentley, £10,000 in cash, a mother-in-law, and a Shetland pony. I'd like to know what you've left behind. Where'd you leave it? What's the story? Karen?
It's something my husband left behind.
What was it?
Our newborn baby left it in the car.
What? How did this happen?
I had a hospital appointment. She was only a couple of weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped me and our eldest daughter off at the hospital doors, went to park the car, and when he came to meet us at the clinic, he was empty-handed. And after a minute, I said, "Oh, and the baby?" And he said some words and ran off.
Now, I suppose if he's a brand new father, he's not into the routine of keeping his eye on the baby. Maybe you could give him that?
No, second time around. He
all right.
He was there.
No excuse. Do you ever let him forget it?
Yeah, we're not together now, as in the ex-husband bit, so hey-ho.
Oh, it didn't work out?
No.
Well, I'm no marriage guidance counsellor, but I would say that kind of behaviour would have had a bearing on the fact that the marriage didn't work out.
Possibly.
Bob's Breakfast.
Almost got myself thrown out of a West End theatre on Saturday night.
What were you up to?
Well, I thought it was something quite minor, but it's something they don't take too kindly to. You know, for Christmas, Julie said, I don't want stuff, I want an experience.
Yeah.
So I got tickets to the Garrick Theatre in the West End to see a play called Red Velvet.
Okay, that's a nice theatre.
Yeah, and not a musical. This is a proper serious play. Very, very good play, by the way. Excellent. So when I have a day out, I do like to take lots of pictures and tweet them. Twit pics. So we get to the theatre, and I don't know if you saw, I tweeted a picture of the stage from our seat.
I didn't see this, no.
We're in the third row,
yeah,
right in the middle of the stage. So almost the best seat in the house, very close to it.
You don't want to be on the front row.
A bit too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was brilliant seats. So I twit-picked a picture at the beginning of these are our seats, look at this, you know. The first half of the performance starts, and I know you're not supposed to. I quickly took a picture of the actors on the stage.
Yeah.
No flash. Very quickly, within seconds. It wasn't like I was taking a video or something. I just lifted up my phone, clicked, done. Right? So the interval comes, and the bloke, now Julie's on my left. There's a bloke next to me on the right that hasn't said a word. Well, he disappears. We didn't need ice creams or anything. We just sat there. He comes back, and within seconds of him coming back, I hear, "Sir, sir, sir," and it's an usher.
That's never good.
And I said, "Yeah? That photograph you took, can you delete it, please?"
What?
And I went, "Yeah, all right." She went, No, can you delete it now? All right. So I get my phone out.
Yeah.
And found the photo, and I deleted it. I said, "There you go, look, it's gone." Showed her the phone.
Yeah.
can you go into your deleted files and delete it from there as well? I said, I don't even know how to do this. And the only reason why I deleted it so quickly, this is Julie's Christmas present.
Yes.
I'm not going to ruin the night out.
No, of course you're not.
Right? And there's hundreds of people in this theatre. They've come to see a show. They're getting one. I'm the show. I'm starring in a two-handed farce with this usher.
This is the halftime entertainment.
Halftime entertainment, like the Super Bowl. Like I'm Coldplay now. So I said, I don't know how to do that. She said, if you go into, I'm like, oh, come on. This is a full-on performance.
Well,
Everybody's
clearly,
watching and
if
listening.
you're asking how to delete this, that you're not going to be using this picture in the future.
Of course,
or
I'm
whatever
not
she's
technically
worried about.
minded. Yes. So I'm farting around with it, and of course we're right in the front of the theatre. This is not like we're hidden away in the back, and this is just going on quietly. This is now a lot of people craning heads from other rows, see what's going on. I'm like, and she goes, "No, you go in there." I find this file she's on about this. It's all photos. So we're going there. I said, "I can't see it." She said, "It'll be at the top." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Find it at the top. Delete." I said, "There you go. Fine. Okay, thank you." So I sat down, I said, Julie, could you believe that? And she's like, no. She says, somebody's dobbed you in.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, who would? And then I'm thinking the bloke next to me who nipped out quickly and came back, he didn't come back with an ice cream. And he wasn't gone long enough to have gone to the toilet because there would have been a queue. It was definitely him.
You got a snitch in your midst.
Yes, definitely. What kind of... I was doing him no harm.
No.
I wasn't ruining it for him. Like I say, no flash, no fuss, no big deal. What's it to him? He's decided to go out of his way to potentially, because it didn't, potentially ruin the night for a total stranger. Who would do that? Ruin somebody's night? What kind of snivelling snitch would you have to be that mean-spirited that you thought, oh, that's against the rules, so I'm going to report you? What kind of a person does that? Well, I thought, well, I'm not losing, I'm going to win.
Okay. Well, he's obviously met the wrong person.
Absolutely met the wrong person. Actually, before the curtain went up, I went to Google and I Googled the play and I Googled images and I found a picture from on the stage that was taken from about where we were sat. Right. A nice picture of the play in action from the first half.
Yeah.
Almost as good as the picture I'd taken. Very similar perspective. So I downloaded it. And I loaded it up onto the screen of my phone and I held it out. And I said to Julie really loudly, I'm holding the phone out at arm's length so this bloke could see it. And I went, you know what? That's the best picture I've taken in here tonight. It's better than the one I deleted. Way better. That's the best picture. I'm glad she didn't make me delete this one. But right, I'm not having that. So, curtain goes up. Second half, lights go down. Lights go down. And I notice this bloke next to me, he's got both elbows on the armrests and he's cradling his chin on it. I mean, he's really into this play.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, at least 50% of that armrest is mine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At least. And I'm taking no prisoners now. If this is the way you want to play it. So I got my elbow on it and I thought, I'll just touch his elbow. So I leaned so my elbow's touching his. How uncomfortable must that have been stranger touching public? I would hate it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually just touching it and enjoying the play. So then his elbow moves a little bit. It's only a thin armrest. His elbow moves to about halfway on the armrest. So I move mine over and I'm touching again. So then his elbow comes off the armrest.
Yeah.
And he folds his arms. So I'm really onto it now. I'm really winning. So,
this is mind games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So then I moved my foot so my shoe is touching his shoe on the floor. And that lasted about 3 seconds and he moved his foot about an inch away.
Really?
So I counted to 10 and I moved it and I got it touching again. And then he moved his foot away again. So then I knew I had him because we couldn't have been 10 minutes into the second half. He's looking at his watch.
How long have I got to sit next
This
to
guy's
him?
crazy. So I could see him looking, he's got his arms folded and he's looking at his watch. He's having his night's ruined.
Yes.
Completely ruined. And he's squashed up in the corner of his seat now, getting as far away from me as he can. So then the play finishes, and it was a great play, standing ovation. So we're all standing up and clapping. Of course, I'm clapping with my right-hand elbow right out here, nudging him here, right, every clap. There wasn't a clap I missed when he didn't get elbowed.
I bet you've never clapped so enthusiastically.
No, oh, so enthusiastically. The elbow went in, many times, 10, maybe 20 times. He literally got the elbow from me. So then I turned to Julie and said, because she's no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
She turned to her and I said, that was really good, wasn't it? She said, yeah, it was great. I turned and I looked for this other fella. He disappeared.
Completely.
He must have been the first person out of the theatre. Must have been.
It made me wonder what you were going to do right after the performance.
Well, if he'd have stayed, I was going to ask him could I have a selfie with him.
It's Bob.
Looking for suggestions on what to have on your pancakes. Siobhan.
I have magic mushrooms on my pancakes.
Magic mushrooms, the ones that make you all trippy, like the LSD.
Yeah, the ones at the garden. Yeah.
At the garden. What do you go on a trip? All psychedelic. Yeah, I don't think you have magic mushrooms. That's all.
Oh, they taste magic.
I don't think that's why they're called the ones that are called magic mushrooms. I don't think they're called that because of the taste.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. Scientists have discovered gravity waves. They reckon now they can see back in time and space to just after the Big Bang. Einstein predicted it 100 years ago, and now they've found evidence that he's right. And I have a theory of my own. The Graham Mack theory of everything. Inspired by the discovery of the gravity waves. Now what they're saying is they might be able to see back in time to just after the Big Bang. The Big Bang, the theory suggests that everything in the universe came from one thing. There was originally a singularity, one thing, and it exploded. And that explosion is the universe. All the bits of it, including you and me, were all stardust. It could explain my theory based on the fact that each successive generation of human beings is more stupid than the one before. My parents, I thought they were very clever. I still think they're clever. The things my dad could do, I cannot do. I could not build a garage out of bricks. I wouldn't change the oil on my own car. I wouldn't attempt some of the DIY things he does. Some of the mathematics that people can do on the fly like that, older generations. Chris Hubbard's father can do trigonometry in his head. So I will admit that I am more stupid than the people who came before. I also know that the generation younger than me are more stupid than me. You've probably found this in your own life. My theory of everything states that there is a finite amount of intelligence to go around. If we all came from the single source, there's nothing else being created. It all just comes from that one source. And human intelligence was part of that source. And now that the world is overpopulated, we've spread the total sum of intelligence much thinner than it used to be. Each generation, as the population increases, is having to take a smaller part of that intelligence. Intelligence is being watered down successive generation after generation. We are evolving in reverse. Eventually we will become amoeba. Pete, you've got something to say on this.
I want to read your book and join your cult. I couldn't agree with you more about the intelligence on this planet is becoming thinner and thinner.
It really is.
Tell me about it. I work a lot with the general public.
Yeah.
I can't believe how stupid and sometimes it's beyond belief how they're becoming brainwashed by TV. They believe that soaps are real. The characters are real.
And they talk about them as if they're real people. And they go, "Oh, did you hear what happened to?" And I've been caught out. There'll be conversations. Someone will go, "Did you hear what happened to her?" And she did this. And I'll like be like earwigging, and I'll go, Blinking heck, where's this happened? And they've gone, on Corrie!
Yeah, absolutely. I sort of get into conversations, and I sometimes think, well, am I actually from Mars? Because I don't know what's going on here.
Stop the show. Martin, you seem to be confused about some... now, Martin, let me just explain, has been flown in from Germany, especially for this program. He's an intern, which means he's learning everything. You're studying at a university college in Stuttgart?
Not in Stuttgart.
Where is it?
It's more towards the border of France. It's in Offenburg, which is
right.
Sort of near Freiburg, would be the next biggest town you
that's
might
what
know.
That's what I thought, yeah. Anyway, so you're learning everything. I'm learning about the geography of Europe through you, and you're learning everything about radio. And you say you've noted... We went out for a curry because this is your last week. We went out for a curry on Friday night.
That's true,
You've noticed something as a result of the curry, something I haven't seen yet.
Yes, well, I've seen the photos yesterday. I got them sent. And,
yes.
I noticed that you always manage to look good on photos. You know, like some people always manage to have their eyes closed
yes.
or look somehow in strange ways or whatever.
Yeah.
And you always manage to look good on photos. How do you do that?
Well, and this is true. When I'm having my photograph taken, I look down the camera as if I'm looking at Julie, my wife. I always look as if I'm looking at her.
Oh, right.
So I think something happens is I'm looking at somebody who I love. When someone looks at a photograph of me, they go, he looks like he loves me. That's my theory.
Oh, that's quite nice.
I don't know whether it's something that you can steal. If you're worried about it, if you've got something coming up, a big event or a wedding or something, look down the barrel of the camera and look at the person you love the most. And I think you'll find you take a better picture.
Boaty McBoatface.
It won, didn't it?
It did.
For anyone that doesn't know, and I don't know if there is anyone that doesn't know, it's a polar exploration vessel.
That's right, £200 million polar research vessel.
That's right, and they're building it, and they had decided to have an online poll on what they should name it. So they're thinking maybe an Explorer, maybe the Scott, or the Shackleton, or the Amundsen or something.
I think David Attenborough's name was thrown in there as well.
That's what they were thinking.
Yeah.
And the most popular was Boaty McBoatface.
Yeah.
And that won, didn't it?
Well, it did, yeah. It was the runaway name in this poll. It was 124,000 votes ahead of its nearest rival, which was Poppy May. Despite the fact that this research boat, which was being created by the Natural Environment Research Council, so very important research going on here, and sort of very serious organisation. Despite the fact that they put it to that vote, they say that Boaty McBoatface, which was the clear winner in their poll for a name for this new research vessel, chances are it won't be, because at the end of the day, it's down to the scientists.
You see, well, they shouldn't have had the vote then.
They shouldn't have done.
Honestly. And these are not just scientists. These are polar scientists. I sometimes think that those scientists working at the Earth's polar axis, they think the world revolves around them. It is the Queen's actual birthday today, not to be confused with the Queen's official birthday. She gets two, Laura. Did you know why?
I don't know why.
It's a tradition that started in 1778. If the monarch's not born in the summer,
right,
they are allowed to take an official birthday as well when the weather will be nicer for a birthday.
Oh, I wish we could all do that.
Yes. Here's where it doesn't make sense. I lived in Australia for a long time. I lived in New Zealand for a long time. In Australia and New Zealand, the Queen's official birthday is a public holiday. It moves around, but it's on the nearest Monday. So you get a bank holiday weekend for the Queen's official birthday.
Right, okay.
In June, which is in winter.
Bob.
I hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, make sure you share it on Facebook and Twitter, and you can subscribe at iTunes. I'm Graham Mack, international broadcasting celebrity, you know, Laura.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Maybe not so much in this country.
Okay.
But in the United States of America, I'm a big deal. Anytime something happens in Britain, I get these calls from all these radio stations, and I go on the air on the phone and tell them what's going on.
Okay.
Now, they're usually things I know nothing about, like the Royals.
Right.
I'm no royalist.
Yeah.
I don't follow the royals. But in the United States of America, I'm what they call your go-to guy.
I can see where this is going.
Yes. Yesterday, Jean and Julie, who I've met, they're lovely actually. They're a married couple. They have awards in America called the Marconi Awards for the best radio shows. Jean and Julie are the current holders. They won it. Their show's a big deal on Mix 101.5 WRAL FM. And they call me regularly when something royal happens, and I blag my way through it.
Well, I don't know if you're following the news, but the Queen of England turns 90 years old tomorrow. It's a really big deal.
So we thought we'd call one of our favorite radio shows in the UK, Graham Mack. They actually call it a breakfast show.
Good morning, Graham. How are you?
Very good. And how are the Marconi winners today?
We've been dying to talk to you because the Queen is having quite a big birthday.
It is a big one. She's 90 tomorrow. I can tell you about the celebrations. We don't know all the intricate details, but we're pretty sure there won't be a stripper.
Okay.
This is Bob.
Superman is real. He actually saved a lady who was being robbed at a cash point machine in Gloucester. Bloke dressed as Superman. Now, he wasn't a superhero. He was wearing the costume for a charity thing, but he saw her being attacked through the window while he was having breakfast and ran out and helped her. So I'd like to know your fancy dress story. What's yours, Mark?
Well, my missus was going out with her friends to a fancy dress party, and I was invited, and I was like, no, I'm not going to go. But I'd made arrangements with her friends to go.
Okay.
So I went out and bought a Darth Vader outfit with a voice changer, the big black cape, the mask, everything else, the lightsaber.
Yeah.
They all went to the pub. I turned up a little bit after she had got there. She didn't know I was there. I had this mask on. She went to the bar. I stood at the bar beside her with the voice changer on and started trying to chat her up.
Right.
And she just looked at me and went, "Go away."
You freak.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, "Go away." Not interested. I was laughing, and she couldn't work out, and she was talking to her friends and like, "Oh, that bloke's trying to chat me up." And then when I took the face mask off, I got a clout around the ear roll.
Well, fair enough too.
Bob's Breakfast.
I'm Graham Mack, and I have the answer to Britain's childhood obesity epidemic. It's really simple. Data from the Health Survey for England shows that 31.2% of children aged 2 to 15 are classed as either overweight or obese. Why is that? I was a skinny kid. Most of my mates were skinny kids. We were all scrawny. Because compared to today's kids, we ate less and moved around more. That was because food was not that big a deal to us. There were only two things that mattered back then: watching TV and playing out. And when we watched TV, we did it without being exposed to shows about food. There were only two celebrity chefs: Fanny Craddock and the Galloping Gourmet. And only your mother watched them. And watching telly back then was a physical activity. To change channels, you had to get up out of your seat, walk across the room and push a button. You'd dive behind the couch to hide from the monsters on Doctor Who. And you'd rhythmically hit a younger sibling in time to the tune of all of your favourite shows. By the way, Blue Peter and the Banana Splits inflicted the most pain. As soon as a particularly good show like Thunderbirds or Captain Scarlet had finished, all the kids in the street would run outside and act out the entire show, even in the winter, when a balaclava on backwards transformed you into Spider-Man. And mealtimes, they were no fun at all, just boring. Mum's cooking was ordinary. Fanny and Graham Kerr never really rubbed off. We almost never ate out, and school dinners were horrible, as they should be.
Now we live in different times. You can't turn on the telly without seeing someone sautéing, flambeing or pureeing. It's a constant stream of ready, steady, can't cook, won't dine with me, bake-off, MasterChef kitchen. The reason we have fat kids now is because of celebrity chefs. And I'm looking at you, Gordon, Ainsley, Nigella, Heston, Mary, and the rest, but most of all you, Jamie. Jamie Oliver. The Mockney naked chef. He's turned food into an obsession. He's made the chore of preparing meals look like fun. Cooking shows have replaced entertainment. Not only that, he's actually made food taste good. He's got mums the length and breadth of the country buying his cookbooks and making delicious meals at home. His biggest crime? He's made school dinners edible. How dare you? Now look at the size of British kids. The really sinister thing, though, about Jamie Oliver is that he's become very powerful. When he's not causing childhood obesity, he's busy cozying up to politicians and getting them to place the blame elsewhere. His latest recipe involves putting the government into a pressure cooker until they introduce a sugar tax. Unless Jamie Oliver is stopped, within the next 10 years, skinny kids will be extinct.
This is Bob.
Fancy dress stories this morning. Ben, what's yours?
A few years back, a friend of mine had his 21st birthday party, and it was fancy dress.
Yeah.
My girlfriend decided to go as Catwoman, and I decided to go as Busby the BT Bird.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Great night. Really enjoyed ourselves. Unfortunately, on the way, when we got home, I'd realised I hadn't got the keys to the house.
Right.
So, as we were quite in a jolly mood, I saw a window that was open.
Yeah.
A top window on the ground floor, and I thought, you know what, I can climb through that, not a problem.
Right.
Unfortunately, after my girlfriend gave me a boost up and pushed me through, halfway through I got stuck in the window.
Right.
Whilst I was stuck halfway in with halfway out in a yellow feathered suit with orange stockings and bird feet, I heard a voice saying, "Hello, sir, what have we got here?" I looked through the window and it was a policeman.
No.
Someone had actually reported a burglary.
Right.
And whilst I tried to explain I'd been to a party and it's my house, after the fits of laughter, he phoned the station at Hitchin.
Yeah.
And said, "It's a false alarm, but I've got Busby and Catwoman in custody." And all I heard was on the radio was the controller laughing, like wetting their pants. And with his assistance, he managed to push me through to the window so I could get in and get out from the other side. I think that was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
Bob's Breakfast.
Been a lot of stories lately about whether the Spice Girls are going to get back together for a 20-year reunion. I've managed to get Geri Halliwell on the phone. She's now known as Geri Horner. Come on then, Geri. Is there going to be a Spice Girls reunion?
Would you like there to be one?
Yes!
Do you know what, Graham? I love you. But you know what? Today I'm not going to share that with you.
You're not going to... I only mention that because there's news out today that Victoria's not keen and Mel C's already pulled out.
Oh, I think you just have to wait and see, won't you?
But if it was up to you, Geri, because obviously you've got to get 5 people to agree on this. If it was up to you...
I'm going to get you up there. Do you know what? We're going to get you some hot pants and we're going to get you to a wee little bottom.
Yeah.
and you can do it.
I wouldn't look good in the Union Jack dress, I don't think. But what do you think? If it was up to you, are you up for it?
To keep you all guessing.
Oh, nicely deflected.
This is Bob FM.
Fancy dress stories this morning. What's yours, Sam?
My friends had a joint 25th birthday party.
Yeah.
And they had a theme, and it was a children's party. So I thought, I've got no idea what to go as. Limited funds because I wasn't being paid very well, so I couldn't go splash all out on a costume.
Uh-huh.
But I managed to find a fancy dress shop that had, it was like, God, this is going to sound awful. Please don't get the wrong idea. It was like a giant baby costume. Oh, dear God, I'm cringing now just at the thought of it. I had the big nappy, the booties, the bonnet, the bib, the whole lot.
The giant dummy?
No, I didn't have, I refused. I had that around my neck.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyway, my sister decided, well, I'll drive you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd got ready at my mum's in Stevenage. So my sister drove me over to Chewing, sorry. And I had no cash on me. So I asked my sister to pull up at a cash point in Stevenage Old Town.
Mm-hmm.
So that she could go and get some money for me.
Yes, good plan.
And I gave her my card, I gave her my PIN number, and she just looked at me, she went, no, you do it.
Oh, no!
Honest to God, Graham, I can't remember the last time I was that embarrassed. That little moo bag made me get out of her car in the middle of Stevenage Old Town, dressed as a giant baby, to get my own cash. I mean, that's just mean. And how many people were out in Stevenage Old Town at that time on a Saturday night? Lots.
Oh, no, I'm feeling your pain.
Oh, it was so embarrassing.
Bob's Breakfast.
I don't think there's a bigger story than the Hillsborough story. There are so many levels to it. On April the 15th, 1989, 96 people died when they went to watch a football match. And if you look at the names on the memorial at Anfield, or when they're printed in the papers, wherever you see that list, first thing that strikes you is how young some of the victims were. The youngest was 10 years old. 22 of them were under the age of 18. They weren't even 18. They were unlawfully killed. They did nothing wrong. But for 27 years, the fans have been blamed for causing the tragedy. The police lied on a scale I don't think we've ever seen before. They changed statements. The Sun newspaper, the next day, the day after the tragedy, ran a front page under the banner The Truth, which said, fans urinated on policemen. They beat up a policeman giving the kiss of life and picked the pockets of the dead. None of it true. And the lies stuck for 27 years. And they stuck because of prejudice. A prejudice, let's face it, against working class people, football supporters, and people from the city of Liverpool in particular. No other group in this country can be vilified in this way. You can't say someone is dishonest or a criminal just because they're black or gay or follow a particular faith, but for years it's been acceptable to use the phrase thieving scousers. And the prejudice grew, and so the lies were believed. Every time I've been to a Liverpool match, when Liverpool have played Manchester United, the families of the Hillsborough victims who've been in the crowd have had to listen to Manchester United fans chant, "Murderers, murderers, murderers." People who lost their children have had to listen to this. And so yesterday, the truth finally came out. And so on my blog, all I did was publish a poem by a bloke called Dave Kirby. The poem's called The Justice Bell. It came out on the 13th anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster. Now, I've changed 13 years to 27 years, and I changed the last line to bring it up to date. This is the Justice Bell. A schoolboy holds a leather ball in a photograph on a bedroom wall. The bed is made, the curtains drawn, as silence greets the break of dawn. The dusk gives way to morning light, revealing shades of red and white, which hang from posters locked in time of the Liverpool team of '89. Upon a pale white quilted sheet, a football kit is folded neat. A yellow scarf, trimmed with red, and some football boots beside the bed. In hope, the room wakes each day to see the boy who used to play. But once again, it wakes alone, for this young boy is not coming home. Outside, the springtime fills the air. The smell of life is everywhere. Violas bloom and tulips grow, and daffodils dance heel to toe. These should be such special times for a boy who would now be in his prime. But spring forever turns to grey in the Yorkshire sun one April day. The clock was locked at 3:06 as sun shone down upon the pitch, lighting up faces etched in pain as death descended on Lepping's Lane. Between the bars an arm is raised, amidst a human tidal wave. A young hand, yearning to be saved, grows weak inside this deathly cage. A boy not barely in his teens is lost among the dying screams. A body too frail to fight for breath is drowned below a sea of death. His outstretched arm then disappears to signal 27 years of tears. 96 souls of those who fell await the toll of the Justice Bell. Ever since that disastrous day, a vision comes my way. I reach and grab his outstretched arm, then pull him up away from harm. We both embrace with tear-filled eyes. I then awake and realize it's just the same old dream I have each week as I quietly cry myself to sleep. On the 15th of April every year, when all is calm and skies are clear, beneath a glowing Yorkshire moon, a lone Scots piper plays a tune. The tune rings out the justice cause, then blows due west across the moors. It passes the eternal flame, then engulfs a young boy's picture frame. His room is as it was that day. For 27 years, it's stayed that way, untouched and frozen in time, since that tragic day in '89. And as it plays its haunting sound, tears are heard from miles around. The tears from the families of those who fell, who now can hear the Justice Bell.